I really gotta pee. 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 I really gotta pee.
That is a disgusting song.
Making pancakes. Making pancakes.
But you know, party.
Making pancakes. Making pancakes.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, a.k.a. Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 198 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
Happy Toilet Day!
Happy Broken Toilet Day, guys.
Yes.
It's
a national holiday.
It has become one.
It has become one.
For sure.
Yes.
Sure. That voice, of course, first off, is Mr. David Santos, a.k.a. Dream Twister.
Whoop, whoop.
Sir, how is your Broken Toilet Day going so far?
It's going fan-freaking-tastic.
It
I mean,
sure the hell is.
I am still holding it in.
As am I, sir. It's a wonderful feeling when you're just ready to let go, but you can't. You know, you can't replace that feeling.
No,
in any way.
of course.
Yeah.
No, that's the challenge.
It's
We're posting this. You know that this goes on YouTube.
It does.
So that all the kids can imitate us.
Correct.
This is, not Tide Pod challenge, not running your car, with a camera challenge.
Correct.
No.
Yeah, or ghosting your car, or something like ghost driving, whatever it is. No.
Whatever the hell the kids are doing these days.
No more ice bucket challenges.
No. We're doing the holding it in.
Yes.
Recording podcast challenge.
Yes.
Let's see how long we can go.
We can hold it. We've already been holding it all day.
Yes.
Because I guess we should probably explain where this particular celebration comes in from.
Or maybe not. And
just let them sit with it, right? And let them sit with it and stew the way we're stewing with it, right? I agree 100%.
And now everybody hates me.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So obviously I will not name where we're at, but basically our particular jobs.
Area 51, there.
The building unfortunately had a little plumbing incident.
Unfortunately?
an unfortunate plumbing incident that required everyone to leave. Obviously, you have to have fresh water at a business. You can't have people numbering in the hundreds, just working at a place.
I apologize, guys. I shouldn't have had those quesadillas last night. And
we will not point any fingers as to.
I'm kidding. It wasn't me. We're still the poop perpetrator is still at large.
It's still at large. Yes. Unfortunately, so we had to skedaddle from work a little early, and because of that, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because unfortunately, Mr. Chaos Reaper, aka Gilberto, is not with us because, his job's plumbing is fine.
Yeah, damn plumbing.
Yes. And
not letting us have our chaos.
It more sure isn't. Now, the question is, how do we ruin his plumbing right now?
Who
do we contact?
I'm on the case, fam. Say no more.
I've already had 5 slices of pizza that's going to fly right through me.
With barbecue sauce. And yes. I'll be right there. I'll fix your day.
We will have
by breaking your pipe.
Chaos by the end of this podcast.
Exactly.
If all works out according to plan.
There you go.
I kid, sir. I kid.
What
I mean, I don't kid. That's why we're actually recording early. But,
yes, that's true.
It's early on a Friday.
While we lack in chaos, we make it up in sound quality. Evidently, I guess.
That's really the only.
Yeah, we're both here.
Yeah. So sir, how you doing? Otherwise,
I am pretty good. I have my Baileys because I realized
Irish cream.
Yes, I like it. I like it like
straight,
that.
Just like that.
Yeah, just
Is
like
it
that.
Chilled?
It's chilled. Yeah,
it's chilled.
Definitely.
Does it need to be chilled? Like, does it say refrigerate
I prefer
after
it
opening?
I still have it because it's still alcohol. But but it's I preferred it this way because this way feels like something I can probably drink. Mm-hmm. Like that. Whereas warm, it feels like I should be mixing this with something.
Oh, okay. You need a little bit of Kahlua.
Yes.
A little bit of vodka and a little bit of milk. And you have yourself a nice little mudslide there.
Yes.
Speaking of bathroom, no, just too many of those would really cause a flushing effect.
Yes, indeed.
to the body.
Of the body,
you know. Guys, we don't normally talk about bowel movements here. What we normally
we do talk about alcohol.
Oh, yes. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If this is your first time listening, please go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. And that takes you right to our Facebook group. And, of course, if you're listening to this on anywhere, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do when we're not talking about poop is first we go into what we have been up to, move on into some various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic, long live arcades.
Woo, yes.
Yes.
Kind of ironic title.
It is kind of
they're
ironic, yes.
Pretty dead here.
They have a little bit of a comeback. There's a lot of little.
You think there's a resurgence?
It's not like before. Before you had a lot of. they were all over the place.
They're everywhere. Every pizza joint had one.
But I never considered a pizza joint an arcade.
No, but they had arcades.
Yeah, they did.
But arcade places like Like it's if it's not a specialized like Dave and Buster's place like we have here, you know, you don't find those like at the mall anymore.
No. They're up in we did a lot of outings to Player One, which was a great little arcade spot. And I think the biggest difference with the arcades now is that there's so much to including consoles and not just arcade units, which I think has improved arcades overall. Obviously, the cost of being in one is not like before. You probably get $5 in quarters and you're good to go for the day. Back in the day, but now maybe not so much. Now you usually have a cover charge just to get in, or maybe a 2-drink minimum, or or some crazy thing. But yes, we are going to discuss.
So what you're saying is arcades now are the strip joints.
We saw in player one there was a stripper on a pole. If I don't even recall this,
that was pole dancing. There was no stripping.
That's because she was already kind of lightly dressed.
Listen, I would not besmirch that establishment.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The dancing was very tasteful.
Yes,
it was very. I was very appreciative.
It was very artful.
I agree. Yes. I agree. I even threw a rose at the end. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly.
Was it a rose or was it $1?
I'm not entirely sure. It could have been $1 folded into the shape of a flower.
Oh wow!
Who knows? The point is that arcades have grown up. That is the moral of this story here, guys. We'll obviously
you need to be 21. No,
to enjoy this.
Yes.
Obviously, we'll go into a little more detail later on in the show, just kind of reminiscing on different arcade games that we loved, arcade moments, and things like that. But first, we're going to start with what we have been up to. Sir, how the hell have you been, sir?
Oh, man. It's been a not a huge week for gaming for me, mainly because I've been working on projects.
Okay.
So
home projects?
Home network project.
Oh, for the love! He's talking about this crazy grid thing that you're building in your closet that little by little taking over. Because I remember, I can say a good 3 months ago, you'd open up the closet door and you had space for stuff, and now you open up and you have to kind of stand out of the way. Something may come falling down
or being too loud. So I have a really cool neighbor that is into, like, I think I mentioned it before. He works in IT. He does like the networking equipment and installations and all that. And every now and then, there's these companies will update their systems, and they will literally throw out really good pieces of machinery, of machinery. So he brings them on to me, and of course, those things are very useful for practicing. They are not practical for the home. I mean, some of them are. I've gotten pieces that I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. With this, I can actually throw a network and power it up and do this and that. And but some of the stuff is like like data center equipment that is really loud when you turn it on, because usually those data centers, those machines run hot, and those and they run fans that they don't need to be quiet, because usually those are closed places. They try to keep it cool.
Yeah.
So you turn something like that on, suddenly it's like a jet engine, like the whole time. You don't want that.
20 degrees hotter in the area.
and it gets really hot.
Yeah.
Exactly. But still, just the fact that it's like, man, this used to be thousands of dollars back in the day. And I bet if I put it on eBay right now, there's someone that needs it and I could probably get some good money out of it. But like, I don't know, enough, because again, I'm learning all that stuff. So now I'm piling it up on the corner of the room, the stuff that I'm not using. But I did got me interested in starting a home automation project. So I bought they call it a Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah,
Raspberry Pi, which is it's a mini bear computer. If you were to use it just by itself, and just put the cover that usually they sell those in bundles, by itself it's like $35 computer. But you could use it. You could go to the internet, you could use it as a word processor, you could check your email, stuff like that. It's not gonna be super powerful, but it is gonna be useful. I think the latest model is powerful enough to run like 2 4K monitors.
Nice.
Obviously, the graphics are not going to be like super ideal or anything like that. You're not going to be able to game on this thing. This is not what it's meant for. So, but they're good little machines to have for little projects, little installations. And one of them is a home automation program that's called a Home Assistance. And what it does is that basically everything, all those devices that you have around the house that help you control like your lights, and like I have a lot of switches, a lot of other switches in my house. They have Wi-Fi, and I can control them from my phone and stuff like that. The problem with those is that normally, in order for them to work, there has to be an internet connection. It's they need to connect to the cloud basically, and I don't like that. I would much rather have a solution that everything gets processed inside, and that way if one day that the internet's out, it'll still run. I don't have to rely much on the cloud, and also because as you might be aware, I have a lot of Alexas around the house, and I have a lot of light bulbs and gadgets and doodads that are usually connected to the cloud, and there is a legitimate concern with security around those things. You guys say, the Candace says that, the Alexas are always listening to you, and they say they don't use that to identify you, but they kind of do, stuff like that. The idea that I don't want a company knowing where I'm in my house, when I'm turning the lights on, when I'm turning, my thermostat, stuff like that. It's
gathering all that information, regardless of how you feel about
exactly,
it.
Exactly. And when you think about it, it's inescapable. If you have a phone, that phone is doing all sorts of data mining on you, and what are you going to do?
More than an Alexa is,
more than an Alexa, exactly. Because you have that capability. But what are you going to do? Not have a phone? So it's already too late to try to live off the grid unless you're taking it seriously and you live like a Amish. So anyway, I just took it more of a learning project more than anything. If I'm able to accomplish something, something like, say, for example, when the system detects that I'm near the house, based on geolocation, it start turning on the light, especially the light of front. Like I have that, but it's because through Amazon, it like the Alexas can detect already based on the geolocation of my phone, which also has the Alexa app. I'm getting nearby. It's 6 o'clock, so it's not, it's night. So let me turn on the light on the front door so I can open it or whatever. So it's basically stuff like that. I would like to automate. There's a lot more. That's just a silly little example. There's a lot more that you can do that is like cool things to have, and I will have to and I would like to have local. So that's mostly what I have been doing, trying to learn. It's complex. It's a little out there. You have to read a lot and watch a lot of YouTube videos, and there's a lot of things that I don't comprehend. But it's been a fun project, Well, that doesn't mean that I completely stopped, gaming. Of course, I'm still playing Blood
Rain.
Stain. Thank you. I was really trying not to say Blood Rain, Bloodstain, Ritual Denied. I think every time, or not every time, but yesterday I started playing and Jason called me. He's like, Blood Rain, Bloodstain. I mean, damn it, because he beat it, And I told you, I think I spoke about it the other day that. I only got the bad ending. It's not really meant to be an ending, but the game brutally game over to me. After I beat what I thought was the boss that I needed to beat. So I'm still stuck on that.
Oh,
I'm still and at this point I'm powerful enough that I should not care about grinding so much. I should go ahead and just like check a walkthrough and find out, okay, where the hell am I supposed to go?
What am I missing? Yeah,
what am I missing? Because right now, I'm just going through all these areas. This map is huge. I've already traversed most of them, and I still can find... Every now and then, I find a secret, but it's not the secret that will make me continue.
It's not opening up the map.
It's not opening... It's not telling me the next step. Like I found something... really cool. I don't know if I should share, but it was a very nice Easter egg. But I'm sure that's just an interface. I didn't pass it because it was quite difficult. But I'm sure that's not the next place where the game wants me.
Yeah.
I need to find out where the game needs me to be.
Do you think this is a time for some sort of guide or something?
I try not to because I do. I would like if I tell you that I do enjoy. It only happens with this type of games because I remember happening with the Castlevania with the DS ones. Mm-hmm. They were also very obtuse on what to do next. Of course, never obtuse like Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. But I'm starting to wonder if this game is not trying to have me. I have to check a walkthrough, otherwise I won't be able to progress. Because I'm telling you, I go into every time I open something new, I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. This got to be it because this is new. I've checked everything else. I go into this room and there's a bunch of music boxes, and I'm like, okay, all right, so I need to open. Maybe I need to open them in order, or maybe I open them all, or maybe I don't open them and then sit down. All I know is that I open one, I sit down. There's an apparition that appears on the other side of the table, but I can't interact with it. I can't do nothing. The moment I move, it disappears. So it's like I don't know what to do.
Sir, I am so. For me, sir. Life is too short. And unfortunately, time is also is always of the essence when it comes to games. So I do give it a little bit where I'm searching and stuff like that, but at some point I'm like, I don't have that much time to game, and I really want to finish this. So I have no problem going, all right, what is it that I'm missing?
Yeah.
Obviously I'll just look for that and then continue from there, you know what I mean? And not, basically I'm just go, okay, well that's what I was missing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes unfortunately, those things can hang you up, and one of two things is going to happen. Either you or three things, I guess. Either you'll figure it out, and it's 10 hours later,
and it'll feel awesome.
And it'll feel awesome. Second, you don't figure it out, and you're like, I guess I'm done with this game, Or third, you go and you look it up. Those are the three. Just say, what is it that I'm missing? Oh, snap! Okay, all right, I see it.
I feel like.
I don't think it cheapens it in any way.
At least, no, but I like the idea of having to have been able to figure it out in a game that it doesn't feel like. Sometimes when I go to that extreme, when I go into a walkthrough, is because I don't feel confident about the game itself being fair. Like, oh, I bet this is a fucking glitch because I'm stuck. I have already checked everything and I'm not going anywhere. Like that will happen to me a lot with, like the Bethesda game. Let's say a Fallout, for example, and I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next, and I'm not confident that is my save corrupted? What's happening? I'm not be able to progress. But with this game, has been incredibly solid through and through. I have yet to experience any type of weirdness, So I feel confident that it's not that I just got stuck and something died. That it is something that I'm missing, and I just want to have that aha moment. But you're right. At some point I need to. I'll be like, okay, I'll just need to
look into it,
to continue because I'm gonna get bored. Luckily, I'm still having fun going around because I really really enjoy.
I mean, as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's the most important thing. It's just
I don't mind
at some point I'm like, which is fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, whenever it came to a Metroidvania type game, it was always okay. Now I need to explore the edges of the map. You know what I mean? And that's usually how you find the answer anyway.
Yeah.
But I understand that this has a pretty extensive map compared to most Metroidvania. So that could be you just take your time, go through the whole map. That's because the maps are always very similar, boxy, and grayed out because you haven't you haven't explored that area. It's kind of it makes sense.
Hit the walls because every now and then you'll find a wall that cracks and then you open up and then you'll find a passageway or
a secret.
Or
yeah.
Those things are cool. So that I'm still enjoying the crap out of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Now, I did watch a movie.
Okay.
A very classic movie, actually.
How classic?
Well, not a classic.
1940.
No. 1995.
Oh.
1995 is considered
It is classic now. That is pretty. It's more than 20 years ago.
And it should not come as a surprise based on, what's out there. So I watched Bad Boys.
Oh, God.
And
oh my God, that's from 95?
That's from 95, bro.
95?
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's the year after Speed.
Yes, it is.
That can't be. I have to look this up.
And you know what? And you know what? The
1995. You're not. Oh, 2003 was the one after that.
2003 was Bad Boys 2.
Wow.
So I heard that this Bad Boys movie that is in the movie theaters, it's like really good. So
I hope so because that trailer was not good.
No,
that trailer was bad.
I tell you, from people that are usually like skeptics, I heard good things. So I'm like, okay, maybe I want to see it, but there's one problem. I don't remember those movies. They came out a long time ago, and you know me, I don't rewatch movies. I usually just one time. I'm okay. So I realized when I saw that movie, I just had like a high school level understanding of English, which was enough to get me by.
Yeah.
But maybe not enough to like retain what really happened, So I was watching that movie almost like it was the first time. I was laughing at jokes that I bet I laughed back in the day, but I didn't remember them or I didn't get them. And then, of course, being a Michael Bay movie, you see the beginnings of, explosions and crotch shots. Although not a lot of crotch shots, if any. I don't even remember that being. But, certainly those special camera
motions.
The camera motions.
The slow motion.
Yes.
Circle around. The
characters. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is admittedly really cool,
I've always said, maybe
a little overused now.
About Michael Bay is that visually, he's not a bad director.
No.
When it comes to visuals, when it's not focused on certain areas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, what's there to say about a movie that came out?
Bad Boys, yeah.
It's very enjoyable. I think my wife watched it for the first time.
Really? Okay,
yeah. I was surprised. I was shocked that she hasn't seen it.
Yeah, me too.
And she was telling me that she didn't pay attention to it because she thought it was like one of those dual cop situation, like
a buddy cop film.
Like a body cop film, exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And I was like, Yeah, there are plenty of those. She didn't use that term, but that was her, her idea. That it was like Lethal Weapon, like
Running Scared.
Yeah. I was thinking of Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
Those type of movies. I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? Those movies usually are kind of hilarious. Yeah. And the action is interesting, and they, even with the bad things that happen, they still play it safe enough to where you have a good time with it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Bad Boys
from 1995,
yes.
Where'd you see this at?
It was on Netflix. It was on Netflix right now. I bet the second one is there also.
I'm sure, because the movie's out. It's like Netflix is like, hey,
exactly.
Let's put it out. People clearly watch these right now.
Yes,
because they're in the mind share. Yeah,
and that's another movie that honestly I couldn't tell you if I watched it or not. I want to say yes because
Bad Boys 2?
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2 is a little bit more real Michael Bay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is where
Bad Boys 2 is like it oozes a little bit of Michael Bay. All
right.
So just FYI,
we're not talking about with the underage weird camera angles, and
there are camera angles.
The super crotch shots.
I'm trying to remember if there's any weird. I mean, no, this obviously this is, but I think they're all like girl women.
Is Megan Fox in it?
Megan Fox not in it. Gabrielle Union is in it.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't think there's anything, pedal like, what I mean, in there. But
you still haven't seen one of the best directed, because I think he was directing this one, Michael Bay's films, Pain and Gain.
Was there any crotch shots on that?
Actually, no. Surprisingly, I don't remember anything. There were maybe explosions, but nothing too. That's why I was surprised. This has to be like another Michael Bay,
Michael Bay Jr.
like Michael Jordan and Michael B. Jordan,
or Michael C.
It has to be something like that. Yeah, maybe it's like Michael C. Yeah, Michael C. Bay. Michael E. Bay.
eBay.
Get it?
Oh, nice.
Yes,
nice.
Thank you. You gotta watch that movie because I need your reactions from it. And I'm not saying because it's fantastic, although I did have a lot of fun watching it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not selling it to you as, dude, it's the best movie. I'm not saying it because of that. I just want your opinion on it. I need to know what you think about.
I know, and I've said okay and all this, and
it's based on a true story.
I know, which I'm usually
is the
down with.
Yeah, thing.
I'm usually down with.
Yes.
When it comes to films, but yeah, I eventually, I'll come on, I'll surprise you. One of these days.
Come on.
Right around the same time you watch Pulp Fiction. Just
there you go. All right, we got Chaos in the house.
I'm here representing Chaos and his requests.
There you go.
Which is actually our request. But
so in 4 months, when he actually listens to this particular episode,
yes, he will message us and say, "You fuckers."
Yes, exactly. it's gonna be like that. You fuckers. And then we're gonna wonder about what, and he's gonna remind us.
That's basically what happened last time.
Remember the 2nd of February. I mean, 7th of February.
7th of February.
There you go.
Well, sir, as far as gaming, I am still playing Nioh. And I am.
You started it that time, so you couldn't talk about much.
Correct. I'm way more into it at this point.
All right,
and
talk to me.
It's really, really good.
Yes, it is.
I have noticed, and maybe the what?
I knew you were gonna like it.
I didn't have any doubts on it. Maybe I had a little doubt. Because it is, Koei Tecmo, and I don't know how I feel about it. Sometimes they're a little bit, out there when it comes to their stuff. But anyway,
I'll have you know that exactly a year ago today, I was playing
Nioh.
Yeah.
That says 3 years ago, bro.
3 years ago? Yeah, that's what I said. 3 years ago.
Damn, that game 3 years old?
Yeah,
shit.
The game is but it doesn't look.
No.
Not that you would expect games to be dramatically different, but
not nowadays.
This game easily could be released, tomorrow.
No, it looks. It's a beautiful game. It is challenging, but not overly. It's not Sekiro. It's most certainly not Sekiro when it comes to the challenge, and which is good and bad because I realize I'm actually doing pretty well here. I'm like, I'm just gonna, and then of course you get to one of the bosses, like, all right, now I get knocked down my high horse real quick.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
welcome to reality.
Yeah. But I am enjoying it. Mostly I love the gameplay. I'm using the God, I knew I was gonna fuck up this name. The chain weapon. I can't think of the Kusurigama or something like Karasurigama, whatever it is. I'm sure.
What does it look like? It looks like a nunchuck,
it's a chain with a ball at the end, and the other one has like a
Morning Star.
No,
it has
yes, it's an actual chain. You can actually chain and and you can swing it around, and he does this and all this great, yeah. So and it has on one end it has a sickle. It has a knife, and so that was the first one I chose. And because you had the sword and you had the spear and you had the axe, and I was like, I was going for light. You know what I'm saying? I have light armor all the time. I'm always going to move fast.
Yeah.
That's always kind of been the character I go for. And so
fast and weak.
What weapon, emulates this even better? And is that one, right? And let me tell you, there's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to this weapon, but once you get it, and I've been getting it, it takes a little bit. Well, once you start to understand, now I'm unlocking a lot of different moves. And the move sets are significant. Like you can actually, I was like, man, this is actually unlocking some serious movements. Obviously, you have your high, medium, and low stances, which now I'm flipping. Like early on, I was kind of sticking to the high, which is always the more powerful hits, but it's also the one that uses the most stamina or ki in this case, and in this particular game, and so which is basically stamina. And so when I see a particular enemy, I know exactly what I need to do. I switch to that particular stance, because I know I have a better chance at certain things.
Damn.
If I need something, I can.
You're making me want to go back to it again.
It is honestly, it is. It's really cool. It's really. I am pleasantly surprised, and honestly, because there's
you should have been. We have been telling you, especially Sparrow Wolf. Have been telling you for the longest time.
Well, I mean, I never said I didn't want to play it. It's
you never did.
It was just one of those things. Yeah,
prioritize it either.
Correct.
As you should have.
So, I'm sorry. There's other stuff to play, bro. What do you want me to do?
Play a good
this
game.
Is a 3-year-old game here.
Like that automatically disqualifies it, makes it bad.
Newer is always better. How many times I tell you this?
That's right. There it is.
There it is. No, I kid. And so anyway. As far as the story, I'm not going to go into the story, but I'm really enjoying just the aspect of how it looks, and I'm in this particular area now where it's night and it's raining, and it just looks so nice. Like, man, this really has a beautiful look to it. It's really well designed. What I'm not finding odd, but very different, obviously, from let's say the Souls games or Sekiro in this case, is the stages, right? Because in those games, the world is the entire world. You just have to travel to that particular area. Here, obviously, you're jumping in different stages, and you can go back to now I'm going back to do a lot of little side missions, which are pretty cool. And I'm like, okay, and I like this. I don't want to call it a grind, but I like what it opens up and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's almost like it doesn't have a continuous world. Mm-hmm. It's divided, just like you mentioned. You clear a stage, you go to the next one, but at some point you can point the map into going back, and maybe this, being able to travel to the areas that you couldn't. Yeah. Kind of like in a Metroidvania place.
One of the things I probably have. So if I have to have a complaint, particularly in areas that are a little bit more enclosed, the camera can get a little bit annoying. But that's, I guess, typical of 3D space, essentially. When it's obviously you're outside and you're out about, that's never a problem. The amount of fucking shit that you get, it's just like, what the hell?
I'm like, literally gonna ask you about that. What you think about the loot?
I'm like, there's just too much. It's just right. And I'm
like,
then of course Diablo. You have your common, you have your whatever, and I'm like, okay, obviously I can't get rid of, and I want to get rid of stuff, and then it goes, are you sure? Because this is an uncommon piece of whatever, and I'm like, well, now I'm not. Now I have to keep it for whatever reason, So. The last time I played, I made the conscious decision to say anything under a blue is getting sold. So now I have buttloads of money. You know what I mean? But everything under blue is getting sold. And blues that are, because of the other thing, you can obviously break apart these stuff and get material to make other stuff. And I'm like, okay, so now I need to start. So everything that's blue that I'm not using, or even purple that I'm not using, because purple's the highest. I think is the highest one. But if it's an axe, I'm never going to use an axe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If it's a particular armor that's heavy, I'm never going to use it. I'm like, nope. I have to break it down and then try to make one that more fits what I want. And so, but that little aspect of it is cool, but it's also a little time consuming. It's a little because again, and there's also reforging it to get different stats.
Yeah.
Then you have the soul match, which is like, I don't even know how to start explaining the soul match. It's just like I get it, and at the same time, I'm going, this is already, you know. And I spend 2 hours, and I have yet to go back to fight anything because I'm just kind of managing
the soul
my.
match. It just means you can't trade it with other players.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably my only complaint, and then honestly, that's a good complaint to have. to be fair, but yes, I'm truly enjoying it, and I'm so happy that there is just nothing coming until maybe mid-March. Maybe,
yeah.
Nioh 2 comes out in March as well. So
I mean, speak for yourself. I just found out that I'll be getting the Yakuza remasters 2, 3, and 4, 3, 4, and 5 next week. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, I'll probably place that order, and yeah, I'm probably not gonna open it up the shrink wrap because at this point, I'm just collecting the games.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not even canceling the order because they're nice collector's editions, and of course, I told you I'm a sucker for good
steelbook
for good steelbooks. Not necessarily the collector's editions in the sense like I wouldn't pay extra for it. So this one was $60. They call it the day one, and it has, like I said, it's cool. So it has a bunch, 3, 4, and 5 remastered, but not remade like Yakuza Kiwami.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how I feel about that because I'm not sure I will thread into Yakuza 3 again, let alone 4, which I really didn't enjoy 4, even though it was not a bad game. But and then 5 I never played.
So 5 you got to play then. I mean, at that point.
I know. I need to play because Yakuza 6. Remember, I got Yakuza 6 like a couple of years ago by now, whenever they got released, and it's still not open. You know what? I do want to finish Judgment because I heard.
I still technically have that. It's literally in the console.
Yeah.
It's just in there. And I'm just like,
I
want to go back.
I heard the story gets really good. So
it's just like, also a very meaty game, and there's a lot of silliness to get through in it.
Yes.
Which is silly, not bad silliness. It's just
no, if you're enjoying it,
which I definitely enjoy. But who knows? Maybe it depends on how long I have this. There for me, I don't have any Yakuzas or anything like that. Nothing until March, and that's Nioh 2, which obviously I wouldn't even jump into immediately. So it'll probably be. I'll probably get that later on down the road.
On PlayStation 5.
On the... Maybe. What else is coming out in March that's big? I think it's just Doom Eternal, and technically I'm still on boycott when it comes to Bethesda, so that's not even on my radar. So I may not even have anything in March. You know? So I have all of February, all of March to really just let this game sit and then probably go back to Judgment. So
there you go.
We'll see what we end up doing. But... I did check out some films. Actually, very recently. I saw them last night. The first one I saw was the new Rambo, which this would be Rambo 5, technically. The Last Blood. Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
And
so that's it. There's no more blood after this one. I heard there's enough blood in this one.
There's enough. This might as well be named Overkill 2 or something like or Overkill, the sequel. Because if you've seen
Overkill 2, the Bloodinator.
If you've seen any of the Rambos, I've seen them all. Rambo 1, 2, and 3 were not about the violence, right? It was more about an ex-Green Beret and all this stuff and all the wars and stuff that he gets involved with. And
Rambo 1, a lot more entertaining. A lot more interesting than Rambo 2. Although Rambo 2 more entertaining in the sense of action.
Yeah. Rambo 1 is definitely a more philosophical film.
Yes.
And it's also very, very good. If you haven't seen the original, which is I think 1982, it's very old at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first 3 were very different Rambos. you get to Rambo 2008, which I think it was called John Rambo. This one was, dude, ultra violent in the sense that holy shit. Now the funny thing is, I think that personally, I think that the message, and I say this very lightly, and in the sense that I don't think this was the message, but in a way, you also kind of go, yeah, but that is the way of the world today, isn't it? You know what I mean? It has, the world has changed, and wars have changed, and all this stuff, and now it's more conflicts than it is actual wars.
So what you're saying is that war never changes.
On the contrary, I am saying that it does, and it probably gets worse. If you haven't seen the 2008 one, I definitely recommend it. But just know, holy shit, does that thing it's good. It's very good, and it's not overly gross or gory in the sense, but it is violent.
Right.
And then we get to the newest one, The Last Blood, and here we are again. It's like, and now we're dealing with he's so. Slight spoilers here for the last Rambo. Okay, the last Rambo, he at the very end of the film, he comes back home, right? Because he's been away. He was in the States in the very first Rambo. Since then, he was out. He has not been back to the States. That I can tell anyway from anything. Now at the very end of the last Rambo, he came back home to his home in I think it's Arizona or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So. He takes place here. He's now been here in the States for a while, and he has his niece living with him, and some lady. I think she's kind of a caretaker or something like that. He lives on his house, which has a ranch and all this stuff. And the niece is, I guess it's not his brother, but his brother-in-law. He left to Mexico or something like that when she was young. She finally wants to decide. She wants to. See what happened. Why did he leave us? She wants to go to Mexico, and he's like, "Don't go because it's Mexico, you know what I mean, and it's not a safe place, whatever, particularly for pretty girls such as her, you know what I mean." So obviously she goes because otherwise there wouldn't be a film, and all hell breaks loose. And now, of course, it's Rambo against the
Mexicans,
against a cartel, not the cartels, a cartel. And once again, dude, it is.
I think you just reminded me the reason why I haven't seen this movie actually. and mind you, this is not my opinion because I haven't seen the movie. But the opinions that I heard, like in general, it had made it like a lot more tasteless to see. Well, in the sense of under the political environment that we live today,
perhaps. I mean,
not
I don't know.
The super ideal thing to be like parading, like, hey, it is Rambo versus the Mexicans.
Well, it's versus our cartel.
I know, but
because he does. Sure.
You know what the underlying message is.
I'm gonna have to disagree wholeheartedly and say no, it is definitely not the case. Because if anything, there's a lot of what shows to be Mexican people who are also under the boot of said cartel. So it really does focus more on the cartel as opposed to the Mexican
what you're saying
people,
is that they're not trying to focus that to make the Mexican people
tell the Mexicans go over the border. No, definitely not. However, it is
pillars and rapists and stuff like that.
These cartel actually, the cartel ain't even showing us that. However, they actually, it's very similar to Taken. His daughter gets taken and she gets sold into sex slavery, right? So that's essentially what happens. Spoilers. Although I think this is not even in the trailer, but this is essentially what's happening, and he has to go get her.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the fight ends up happening, which obviously we all know there's going to be a fight, and it's not a very long film, dude. This is an hour and a half. It is a bullet. It is like, it is like, we're going to get to the point, we're going to go to the point fast, and you're going to feel it, and we're going to all have a good day. You know what I mean? Then I was
John Wick.
Like I was saying before that, before when we were off air, I was like, I hear you about sometimes when the ultra violence. At the same time, when at some point you're like, you hate these guys so much, you're like, I don't care what's gonna happen. They deserve everything coming their way. And so because of that, it is a good film. I enjoyed it. It's another simple action film in the sense that that's what it is. And yeah, I think buttons up the whole quintilogy at this point. All 5 parts
until Hollywood finds another way to bring Son of Rambo
that he's never given.
He was never mentioned, but
I guess that's
he's
possible.
called Creed.
It's called Creed.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, another movies that you need to watch.
I do, and my problem with Creed is my wife's seen it already, right? So it's like, it's like I have to find a way to watch it by myself or convince her to watch it again. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know sometimes, guys. The last film I saw is very good. Honestly, had I seen this last year, this probably would have been like at least one of my films of the year, and that is The Farewell. And The Farewell is actually, if you don't know anything about it, it stars Awkwafina, and which is someone that I thought I knew. I thought I knew well of this person. I always thought that she was maybe a comedian actress, and then now that I see her in this film, and she actually won a Golden Globe for her portrayal here. And
2019 film.
Yeah, and I looked more into her. I was extremely impressed. I was like, holy shit, Awkwafina is something serious. She is a rapper. Yeah. She who started on YouTube. Yeah. Has become an actress.
I didn't know that part.
Has become an actress. And let me tell you, she is now an award-winning actress, because she won the Golden Globe. And also the first Asian to win a Golden Globe.
Wow.
So that's another impressive. She is a producer. And all this stuff at 31 years old, guys. I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? But anyway, so the story of Farewell is actually The Farewell, excuse me, is actually very simple. She is her name. She plays a character named Bobby. Her grandmother lives in China. They all find out that her grandmother is sick and is terminal, and she's probably not going to last more than a few weeks. And so what they all decide to do is not tell her, pretend to plan, not even pretend, to say that, we have your grandson is getting married on this date. We're all coming back to China so that we can celebrate it in China. But the purpose of this, of course, is to see her one last time, but not tell her we're here because we hear you're dying. You know what I mean? So that's why we're staying here. And so, of course, the funny thing is the two young people had only been dating for 3 months at this point in the story, but they all agree to it. And Awkwafina's character is from New York. She's obviously an Asian American, more than probably a lot of Asians would consider those raised here to be Asian Americans, as opposed to Asians. They have the whole thing basically. And so because of that, she doesn't feel this is the right thing to do. Yeah. She's like, why can't we just tell her? This doesn't make sense. So it's this whole ruse that happens, but it is so well acted, so well directed. It has very touching moments, and even because the angle you're seeing everything. Everyone knows, or at least almost everyone. The only one who doesn't know is grandma who's dying. You know what I mean? Yeah. She just thinks, oh, my grandson's getting married. This is wonderful. I have everybody back, And there's almost some truth to what they're doing. It's like, it makes the most sense, because the reason they don't do this, which by the way is completely against the law in America, they will never be able to do that here. By law, we have to tell you, this is what you have. Yeah. Over there, because of the culture, it's even the doctors would, no, it's just a cough. You should be fine. You know what I mean? We're giving you medicine and all this stuff.
At what point do you think they will go like, yeah, this is bullshit, I'm dying, am I? Yeah, I mean, I can honestly, feel it. Go on.
So you figure that they would at some point. But anyway, it's a really, honestly, I want to watch it again because it's such a good film. And it's a lot of humorous parts. I spent laughing a lot, and it's really, really good. It's not a comedy, but it has comedic moments. It's more of a drama, comedic drama. And so, but it's so cool. And it really, if there's one thing my wife and I took away from that is the first thing we said is like, you know what? As different as we think we are, man, we are such the same when you look at the families and the way they act with each other, the little things that they do. And it's just like, man, we really are all the same. You know, we all have that you all have that weird uncle who's old and doesn't hear well, you know, and they all treat him the same because I just leave him, he's fine. You know, it's like it's just so cool, man. It's such a cool thing. But obviously, it's like I said, it brings to that thing. Does that make sense? Because if you know you're sick, if you know you're dying, 9 out of 10 times, the knowledge of knowing that ends up killing you. You know, because you're trying to fix it. You're now concerned all the time. You may be depressed.
Yeah.
All these things lead to even more sickness. And, you know, before you know it, you know,
Yeah.
you wither away. You know what I mean? Because of that knowledge. And there's almost some truth to that, even though there's no way that can ever happen here.
Yeah.
But honestly, I cannot recommend this film more. This is such a good film.
Fine. Just twisting my arm
It's
over
a
here.
really, really good film.
I guess I'm going to have to, you know.
It's up to you, sir. I'm not trying to make you see it. I'm just trying to say, if you ever want me to watch Pain and Gain. No. I'm just kidding.
Done. Deal. And then you got to watch Pain and Gain the next day.
I got to watch fucking Pain and Gain. Damn it. I didn't
And
think
you're
this through.
welcome.
But that, sir, is all that I've been doing. It is now time for the useless news that you can use
To abuse.
to
Of the news that we can use.
more abuse, I tell you.
No abuse.
More
to the
abuse.
news.
To the news.
These news have been abusive enough.
It has been. Let me tell you.
Yes.
It's been a rough, abusive news week.
All right, let's talk about the
Not
console,
really,
the tariff, and how it affects the consoles. Then
The
the Dow Jones Industrial is down 17,000 points
oh my God.
on the heads that Sony has quit the console business
Oh my goodness.
and it's just gonna dedicate themselves to building toasters. More to come.
Sir, a little something we forgot to actually bring up in what we've been doing. We saw the Super Bowl last week. And you
Oh,
came over to,
yes,
that
we
was
did.
actually
That's
an
right.
awesome Super Bowl.
That was a crazy, awesome flu. Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Even though we didn't have any, like, neither of us had strong horses to, you know, into them, right?
Well, as a Cowboy fan, sir, and any self-respecting Cowboy fan will not support San Francisco in
you
the
go.
Super Bowl. They already have 5 titles. They don't need any more.
No,
As far as we're concerned. Because then otherwise, we'll never hear from the end from San Francisco fans going, we got one more than you.
Yeah.
Which we already hear from fucking Patriots fans. We don't need to, we don't add any more
Fucking
fan base.
Patriots
Fucking
fans.
Patriots fans. Anyway, so because of that, I was really more on the Kansas City bandwagon. I guess you call it. 'Cause,
I
it
guess
really
you can
was
say
just
the same
for the game itself.
It was just hilarious that, you know, the lead that they have, which was over 10 points, was it?
It was 20-10.
It was 20-10, and then they go in and they take a photo. Like, they had that shit planned, like, you know, because everybody struck a pose and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, and they,
Absolutely.
that was I think that they were. I guess they were expecting that to be the photo that they're going to use in the San Francisco Times when they
would. I mean, those type of celebrations, believe it or not, are planned ahead of time. They will do all the time.
Yeah.
And they will because the whole deal is with the NFL. There was a time any unnecessary celebrations would actually get a flag. You know, and it would get for unsportsmanlike conduct. And very recently they've let that go. So now people are like, they're like, oh, we're gonna do something. Obviously, they still can't spend too much time, but yeah. So now it's not such a big thing. So those things technically are planned, you know. And that, if I'm not mistaken, was from an interception on Patrick Mahomes, and that was their defense. They're going, "Yep, we got it, we got this." You know? And to be fair, it was all, as far as I was concerned, it's like, oof, this is all in the bag, right? Because right at this point, it's going to be hard for them to come back from that. And
even though they did it on two other previous games, but
but not with 7 minutes left in the game.
Yeah,
The comeback in the first one, they were down by 24 points. the comeback started in the second quarter. Before the half, they were already on the lead. I'm like, holy shit! It's like I was like, ooh, this is looking bad. And I came back, I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? So. Same thing here. These guys are, oh my God. Patrick Mahomes, guys, if you don't know, I'm starting with my first news topic, which is kind of segueing here. He graced the cover of Madden this past year. And of course, he did get injured this year.
Yeah, he did.
So it was almost, becoming the curse was still there. And man, here it is.
Oh yeah, the Madden cover curse.
Yep.
Which is everybody that has gotten featured on the cover of a Joe Madden game.
Yep. Has either gotten injured or their team just didn't finish the season well for whatever reason. And interesting enough, he did get injured, but he not only did he come back, but he took the Super Bowl, guys.
Yes,
so
he did.
I think it's safe to say that the Madden curse has officially been broken.
That's right. It has officially been listed. Looking at the market numbers right now, we see the EA stock has risen 17,000% on the fact that they actually use Patrick Mahomes' likeness for the cover of NFL. We are obviously following this news very closely, and there will be more to come.
More to come. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, I don't have a football segue.
Kill surprise.
So, how about let's talk about Blizzard?
Okay, sure. Why not?
We talk about the
We always
winners.
get a good laugh out of them. Sure.
Let's go ahead and talk about the losers now. So, Blizzard Entertainment, man, they kind of had it rough, right? Lately.
I mean, yeah, sure.
So, Blizzard begins the Warcraft 3 Reforged road to recovery with a 2 gigabyte patch. Warcraft 3 Reforged has received its major post-launch patch, an update that weighs in at just over 2 gigabytes, while the boss of Blizzard has admitted it has been a hard week. Oh, lol, I did not see that quote, actually. I guess he has been a Blizzard boss. I guess he has been. After the game received a mauling online. So, yeah,
They sure did.
It kind of got destroyed, yeah. But don't expect sweeping changes to the game from this patch, which brings Reforged up to version 1.32.1. It targets bug fixes and issues with classic mode. Of note, the animations, triggers, and cameras for some of the cutscenes in the campaign has been tweaked. With regards to Reforged mode, Blizzard has adjusted animations and portraits for multiple units and buildings. According to the patch notes, all menus are now distinct between classic and Reforged graphic settings. Blizzard said its method for achieving this, it applied a sepia tone to the background of the images of classic, is a temporary solution to better inform the players whether they are playing on Reforged or classic. Man, that's kind of ridiculous. I don't know the changes, but if what they're saying is that the way to distinguish if they're playing in classic mode or Reforged is like, well, the classic mode has an old-timey look.
An old-timey look.
Tone. I don't know. That's kind of silly. Speaking during Activision Blizzard's financial call overnight, Blizzard's president, J. Allen Brack, talked about the negative reception of Warcraft 3 Reforged and insisted that developers will stick with the game. And the quote is, concerning Warcraft 3 Reforged, honestly, it's been a bit of a hard week, he said. Our community has come to expect really amazing things from us, and we have heard from them that we did not achieve the bar. But we stand behind our games and have constantly shown not only do we support them, but continue to build on them even after launch, and we're committed to doing that here as well. We're going to continue to update the game, and we'll continue to update the community with our plans going forward. So yes, it seems. I mean, at this point, like, what would it take? Because they already said, those cutscenes that we showed you on that. The new camera angles and stuff like that for the trailers, they are still on the website. they're saying like, oh no, actually we decided to keep it more like the original. Then don't call it a fucking remaster.
I agree. Yeah.
Don't call it a remake. Or they call it a reforge. Don't call it a reforge.
I mean,
it's just a remake.
Reforge is taking
whatever
something.
I don't want to hear it.
I mean, it is kind of an apt, description.
Maybe,
you're saying,
or maybe it didn't mean anything when it came to
Probably.
games because you forged steel, not games. So maybe
but
that
if
was
you
not
reforge
understood.
steel, it's the same steel from before.
No, because it's made new. Hence, reforging. You're not.
I don't know.
Otherwise,
sir.
you'll be remastering the steel.
remastering the steel.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we are remastering
There you
steel. In
I don't know how much you know about metallurgy. I'm an expert. No, I'm not.
I don't know anything about metallurgy, and maybe you've ever heard of that.
Blacksmithing.
Blacksmithing.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. Back to the Super Bowl event. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, Marvel teased all their first big MCU shows during said Super Bowl. We got a first look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki. Premiering during Super Bowl 54, the tease reintroduces Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes following the events of Avengers Endgame. Plot details have been kept pretty tight, but it's set after the events of Endgame, wherein Steve Rogers hands the shield over to the shield and Captain America mantle to Sam. Many wondered about what that would mean in the series. Is something stopping Sam from becoming Captain America? He can certainly throw the shield, which they showed off on the trailer as well. He just kind of throws it at a tree. Then, of course, they went on to show other stuff with WandaVision, which I really don't know what the hell that's about.
I was literally going to ask you, like, what the hell is WandaVision?
We know
it doesn't look like anything.
Yeah, we got a small snippet of footage from WandaVision finding Vision and Scarlet Witch back in a reality-bending drama. The couple appear to be jumping from sitcom to sitcom. Wanda gasps in the Brady Bunch house. And we also, I'm not sure what was going on. And then, of course, we saw a short line reading from Tom Hiddleston as he plays Loki. So not really a lot.
No.
But it's definitely, I watched it and all I got from it was, please be excited for what we have coming to Disney Plus. Because let me tell you, I don't know why I still have Disney Plus. I even at $7. It's like, yeah, but and my wife, and hey, she's the one paying for it. So because she wanted it. So hey, do you? You know what I mean? And she watches Moana because she fucking loves that shit. And she loves the music. So I guess that's what she's paying for. I don't know.
At this point, you should actually just gift her the DVD.
I should probably just, but no, because she watches on her phone. She watches her phone.
They usually have like, what's it called? Ultraviolet that doesn't exist anymore?
Or I could just get her the digital copy.
There you go. That'll probably be an option, yes.
I mean, it must be because we still don't have release dates for this. And we don't know what else is coming. I mean, I know, don't get me wrong. So for those who don't know, I kind of joke, but Disney Plus does release new things here and there, but it's always very Disney Channel-ish, you know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of stuff that they have on Disney Channel, they're moving it over. It's like, oh, that's great, but I don't watch that shit anyway. So, like, that's not for me, so.
I don't want to watch the cruise live of Zack and Cody. Right?
Exactly. I do, to be fair, there is a show I literally saw just a snippet of it, and I was like, okay, I can get into this. And that's the
Hannah Montana?
No. What are you talking about? No.
Don't deny it.
What is his name? Oh my God. From Jeff Goldblum. It's the world according to Jeff Goldblum or something like that, which are separate episodes, and I think he picks like an item and he kind of does a little deep dive into it, and of course it has all his Jeff Goldblum mannerisms and all that. I'm like, okay, I can get down with
living
this
for
yeah. But yeah, so please be excited.
All right,
that's the message from Disney Plus.
That's right. That's good. All right. I don't have much to
nothing else to say. Yeah,
I'm trying, man. I'm trying, but nothing's coming. All right. So, Cliff Blasinski.
Oh, I know him.
You know him, right?
Well, I knew him back when he was Cliffy B.
Oh yeah, Cliffy B. Don't say that out loud. He still doesn't like it. He doesn't.
That's why I don't know him anymore.
That's why you guys are at a
We're in and outs.
in and outs. Oh, okay. So Cliffy B offers Microsoft a helping hand on Gear 6. He probably played Gears 5. It was like, oh hell no.
What did they do to my freaking Gears?
This is my gear. Yeah, this is not my Gears. We need a course correction here. No, this is not as much as that. Although who knows? The original Gears of War trilogy designer Cliff Bleszinski has offered a helping hand in the development of the next Gears of War game. The currently inactive designer made the offer just after the Coalition Studio head Rob Ferguson announced his departure in order to join Blizzard.
Blizzard? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I couldn't make out too well what you said there.
On his Twitter page, Bleszinski said he will be willing to consult on the Gears franchise and that it was up to Microsoft to make it happen. Phil Spencer, if you please.
Make this happen.
If you please. You know, you're not going to make, obviously Xbox not going anywhere, so let us have something, He also stressed that there was an element he wanted to include in Gears of War 4 that was never added to the franchise. The tweet, I'm going to read from the tweet directly from @TheRealCliffyB. Even if I gave 3 page of notes on Gear 6, I wager the perception around the community will be lovely. There's one thing they haven't gotten to. There's one thing they haven't gotten to do that I wanted so bad on G4 that they never did. Ugh. Or maybe he means that he wanted something to be shown at G4, the now defunct channel. the now defunct gaming channel.
Became Spike, I think, or something like that.
Oh, yes. G4 Tech TV. Bleszinski left Gears of War developer Epic Games back in 2012, and to this day, he regrets it miserably. Oh, no, sorry.
I was going to say,
sorry.
Damn, this journalist is real.
No, it just stops in 2012. Eventually founding his own studio, Bosky Productions, and creating the first-person shooter Lawbreakers, which he regrets miserably to this day. Well, also that's not there either. Following the game's failure and the failure of Battle Royale game Radical Heights, Bosky Productions closed in 2018. The Bosky Productions shutdown. No, when the Bosky Productions shutdown happened, Bleszinski said he will never make another video game. By late 2019, however, his tune had changed and said he was open to creating a game again. He's also writing a memoir that will further the details of his career in the gaming industry. Okay, anyway. So I would be excited to hear about some sort of involvement of Cliff Bleszinski in the Gear series. The Gear series, story-wise, is not bad. Like that, the trilogy was all right. This 4 and 5, like it looks. It's not bad because it is going into some interesting thing, but it's the Halo effect. After Halo 3, after you finish the fight, it's like, okay, well, now you just give me enemies that I don't really care about, that much. It's like the stakes. You just artificially upping the stakes. These are, on Halo's case, this is not the Covenant. This is, you want to make him even worse than the Covenant now. It's like, but they don't have that personality.
Badass,
yeah, exactly. So that's why actually, I think 343 Industry even realized that, and they decided not to bother with Halo 6. They're rebooting already Final Infinity. Yeah, whatever the hell that means. So
I told you it's going to be a Battle Royale.
Yeah, yeah. More than
100
likely.
Master Chiefs.
100 Master Chief. I think that has happened. But I'll be like I said, I'll be excited about Cliffy B's involvement on Gear 6 because I do like him and respect him as a game designer. I think he brings some crazy good ideas. I honestly I play Lawbreakers and I did not think it was a bad game. I think it came up at a horrible time. At a horrible time.
Yep.
It was in the middle of the heyday of Overwatch and
Battleborn.
Battleborn and the thing with to a lesser extent, but also
Yeah,
Battleborn
but I
was
mean,
there.
they were
Paladins was there, and there was a lot of Battle Royale. Like the world had moved to Battle Royale, and what you were seeing on Lawbreakers was more of the Unreal Tournament,
Hero
Quake
shooter,
type
yeah.
of games. That I wish they would make more of, to be honest with you, because those games were legitimately fun. But but like I said, the world was already moving to Fortnite and stuff like that. So yeah, that'll be cool. Cliffy B, be back, come back,
We'll see.
come back.
Microsoft,
make it happen.
my next piece, guys. Platinum Games
Oh, I like them.
is bringing back the Wonderful 101, which is the developer's 2013 Wii U game in remastered form for Nintendo Switch. This time, however, Platinum isn't working with the game's former publisher, Nintendo, but is turning to Kickstarter to crowdfund development of the Wonderful 101 remastered, with plans to bring it to PlayStation 4 and PC as well.
Yay.
Wonderful 101 Kickstarter campaign launched this past Monday afternoon. The original campaign asked for $50,000 in crowdfunding to remaster and self-publish the game on Switch, then stretch goals to bring the game to PC at $250,000 and PlayStation 4 at $500,000. Within 2 hours, Platinum Game easily met those stretch goals and currently sits at $1.5 million. So yeah, that's it. I think that's going to happen. Platinum also hints at additional content coming to the Wonderful 101. I remember checking out the trailer for it, and I was like, man, that's such a cool looking game. I really, really kind of want to get into it, but it's on the Wii U. And I was like, I'm not buying a Wii U for this stupid game. And now I don't have to. I can just wait for the Switch version.
The PlayStation 4 version.
They met that stretch goal. Yeah.
Stretch goal,
So yeah, some good news. I hate it when games get locked on a old console and doesn't go anywhere. And it's surprising.
2.
So it does call into question that, because it's like, well, wait a minute. Clearly, Platinum actually owns the IP and can do whatever they want with it. So that is an interesting wrinkle that you may start to wonder about Bayonetta, going, well, maybe they do own that same things, and they can.
If they know what's better for them, they will own that IP. I was thinking the other day that I like the Platinum Games character designs. For the most part. I obviously I really like the idea of Bayonetta and the crazy things that she could do with her hair and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate that the fact is that TB is a hypersexualized female character, which is, it sucks. But I can appreciate the guy's honesty. It was like, why did you make her like that? It's because I like looking at pretty girls. That's what it is, And I fucking like the character. I think that character, the character design, aside from having the blindfold, with it's a little on the nose with the. I don't know. It kind of makes it a little bit too S&M,
Okay.
Which is fine for whatever is your taste, but like, it was not necessary for this character to be like super duper cool, and I really like that design too. Yes.
I have a question.
And 9S, I think he's awesome. Also,
did you get the trophy for looking up her skirt?
No. I did not get it.
Okay. Something
I
you're
tried to
good.
get it though.
Did you?
But I didn't.
At some point, you're like, "This is."
At some
taking too
point, it's
long.
just too much, and my wife's gonna start asking me, "What the hell am I doing?" So it's like, nah.
I'm trying to look up, honey. That's what I'm trying to do.
Unless it was something crazy like I had to buy the trophy. Like that game literally has a store to actually buy the trophies that you've earned. So if you look at my PlayStation, you'll notice that I earned no trophies on that game, or maybe one for something. I don't know. I don't think I have any. But it's because at some point it opens up a store that you can miss it and
buy the trophy.
Just like at one point, and this is going into spoilerish territory for a 3 or 4 year old game. Oh, well, 4-year-old game. You can make a decision that will erase your game saves completely after finishing the game. But if you didn't play the DLC, even if you bought it, you don't get to play the DLC unless you start over again. So it's kind of like the game definitely took, it took some decisions that were very ballsy, to say the least.
To say the least, I agree. I definitely agree.
Oh, I guess I have
Yes,
more.
you have the next piece, sir.
Okay, so let's. We're talking about Cliffy B and Microsoft. I'm just going to talk about Microsoft now, because Phil Spencer claims that Amazon and Google are the main competitors to Xbox. Yeah, you heard that right. Xbox head Phil Spencer has suggested that Sony and Nintendo are no longer the company's main competition in the world of games. Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have long been considered the games industry's big three, thanks to the successes and impact of their various consoles. But as the next generation approaches, Spencer claims that his traditional rivals are out of position, is the quote. Speaking to Protocol, he says, the fact that neither Sony or Nintendo boasts its own cloud infrastructure similar to the Azure platform that's driving Project xCloud, Microsoft's ambitious game streaming service, means that they are not at the forefront of his thinking. Instead, he viewed the other tech giants like Google and Amazon, the former of which has already launched its own cloud service platform in Stadia, as his biggest challenger. And then the quote goes, when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward, commented Spencer. That's not to disrespect Sony. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we have invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. That's the end of his quote. He also suggested that Microsoft will continue looking forward to work with Nintendo and Sony, as there's no point in waging format wars while Amazon and Google are focusing on how they get around to 7 billion people around the world. Ultimately, that's the goal. Basically, Microsoft is saying, hey, and I might be paraphrasing a little bit here.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, we can't compete with Sony, so we're just going to make our own enemies now.
I mean,
that's what I heard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're trying to post this, the cloud and the power of the cloud and Azure and the power of the cloud. And yes, I get it, what you're doing with the cloud now, with the thing. It's kind of cool and whatever, but fucking not. Bill. Come on, Phil. Come on, man. You are usually incredibly level-headed when it comes to this, to these things. This is not the path to take. Do not for a second think that Sony is not like your main competitor, because they will eat you fucking alive. Just like they have eaten Xbox. And I'm sorry, this is not fine. Mr. Martin, you know that I am the farthest things from Sony fanboy. As a matter of fact, I kind of dislike their attitude. But it's not to say that I'm going to defend the things that Microsoft have done either. But PC Master Race for the win. The thing, I'm not saying this to be like on the Sony win. Of course, Sony fucking won this generation. That's why Microsoft is saying, no, we're not gonna, they're not our competitors anymore. So what does this mean? Sony is the sole king now of the, because Nintendo has his niche and they're fine with it. They're okay with it. I wouldn't call it a niche. Obviously, they have a shit ton of consoles, but they have. Like their strategy,
they've forged their own path at this point.
Their strategy worked 100%. Sony's strategy this generation worked 100%. Microsoft, on the other hand, did not. And they're making hedges with the Game Pass. But that's not gonna be their survive. The thing that makes them stay on. They stay on the ground. So. It can't of course, that's not really what he's saying here.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste. When you hear stuff like that, it's like, come on. First of all, you haven't even proven yourself on the cloud yet. All right. What you have shown, it has been an interesting proof of concept. You know who did that also? Fucking Google. And you remember Stadia? Exactly. Me neither.
Well said, sir. Well said. Sir, I don't really have anything else other than this awesome little bit here. After a year of exclusivity, Metro Exodus is coming to Steam, guys.
Oh, God. Fucking hell.
It will be available Saturday, February 15th. That'll be a week from this Saturday. Congratulations to all you Steam installation owners, whatever, the faithful Steam users who said, nope, I'm not going to download anything else, and I'm going to wait.
It's going to be released in 2020. Fucking dumbasses.
Congratulations, guys. You're getting your Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
And, sir, that's all they have.
That's, that sounds good. That sounds like a high point.
I think so, too. All right. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with our Hot Topic. And we are back, guys. And it is time. We are evil. We are evil people, guys. And of course, it's time for our Hot Topic of the Week.
Hot Topic of the Week!
This week's Hot Topic, again, guys, is our Long Live Arcades.
Yeah, Long Live Arcade! First off, before we go into it,
yes, sir.
How's your bladder levels? Because remember, we're still holding it in, right?
So far, so good.
All right.
Have not exploded just yet.
No.
And I think
right.
I think we can make it.
I've had 2 more bubblies.
I had 2 more as well.
Yeah, there you go.
And a beer.
And a beer.
I think we're
good. Yeah, I think we can manage.
I think we can manage it.
So we're gonna talk about this Hot Topic of the Week for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna say goodbye.
Because it's starting to hurt. Let's be real here. It's starting to ache just a bit. First off, I wanted to jump into some of the comments for the Hot Topic.
Oh, cool.
Because I have been forgetting, and I apologize, guys, for people. Thank you so much for writing into our Hot Topic. First and foremost, Ricardo Negron Marrero says, "Long live arcades!
Woo!
I like them so much that I ended up working on one. Good times."
Oh, word? Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Good stuff.
Nice. I wonder, so was he like administrating there, or was he changing quarters, or was he fixing them?
I mean, I know he doesn't say, but I would be interested.
I'll be interested in knowing.
Following up a comment there. Yeah, absolutely. Chad Mon says, I miss the arcade scenes of the 80s and 90s. I do too, Chad, and I'm glad that you and I share clearly the same age group. So I appreciate that.
That is to say, the 18 to 24
Sure.
demo.
Our very own Sparrow Wolf chimes in, quote, I cannot remember how much money I spent at these, playing against others on a fighting game, seeing that Mortal Kombat cabinet for the first time, or just to try to finish one, but was never getting to the end because it was just a token trap.
It was a token trap. That's right.
Yeah.
You heard of a little game called Dragon Slayer? That shit was
super
$1. All right, that shit was $1 for just a little bit, just to watch cartoons for a little bit.
Yeah, you're paying to watch animation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although it was kind of it was unbelievable because you didn't know how the graphics were made.
If you did,
So
exactly.
you go from freaking Galaga to like Dragon Slayer, your mind gets blown to bits.
Yeah, that was the game that everybody needed to get into.
Yeah.
He continues, the thrill of visiting an actual arcade venue, not Timeout or some other corporate equivalent, was the bomb. But in Puerto Rico, this was the most common way of experiencing an arcade. The sound, the sight, hell, even the murky smell. I remember these and hold dear to my heart, just like visiting an old video club prior to Blockbuster.
Yes.
So yeah, he definitely paints a beautiful picture of arcades.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I could smell the empanadillas on that description.
On this description,
they gave,
yes.
already, know.
And then finally, Matthew Aiden Asher Black says, Arnaldo Martin, please mention my favorite, Dig Dug.
Dig Dug.
So Dig Dug gets its first shout out.
Dig Dug. Yes, there you go. The first arcade shot. Well, actually, that honor belongs to Dragon Slayer. Thank you.
Yeah, okay,
but Dig Dug is the first real game.
Yeah.
We're giving a shout out to because it was excellent. I always loved I was gonna call, if we could call it the soundtrack, the music, the chip tune of Dig Dug.
Of Dig Dug, yeah.
That only happened when you were walking.
Yes.
Yeah. If you stop, the music will stop.
Yeah.
And also
That's weird.
there was kind of like a cutesy but kind of disturbing way of what you were basically doing to those poor to the pukas and the Shy Guy? No, it's not called Shy Guy.
But it looked a little bit like a Shy Guy.
I remember the pukas. I don't, which are the.
I don't remember the names. You're good because I don't remember the names at all.
That's the only one that I remember. The other one is the little dragon. I don't know.
There was a dragon thing, but I don't know if that was it. It wasn't called. Was it called dragon? It was probably called dragon. But it looked like a lizard of some sort.
But you will just pump it full of air and they'll explode.
And they'll explode.
Like,
it's
what a concept.
horrible, yeah. So graphic.
So graphic, I know.
Can you imagine an up-to-date version of that right now?
Was there a 2-player mode on it? Because I could swear that there was a way that you could make the other one explode. Or maybe
there was a 2-player mode because I remember we just recently went to Arcade Monsters in Oviedo.
Kind of a little bit of what actually prompted
the
idea
true.
Of this.
And we and I actually played it. I was playing with my nephew, and we were playing. He'd jump on, then I jump on.
I thought you were going to say with your nemesis.
No, although he became my nemesis. He had to show me up, basically.
Dig Dug.
Dig Dug. All right, sir. Let's start off here. First off, what is your earliest arcade memory? Can you even recall?
So honestly, it was, and I think I spoke about this one in particular a few episodes back. There was a show on TV that had to do. Surprisingly enough, it was in Spanish. Mm-hmm. That had to do with people playing arcades, but specifically this game in particular called Elevator Action. If you could pull up Elevator Action, here we go. I'll give you.
Good.
So Elevator Action was the premise of it is like you were this character, this cop or something, and you were shooting, the bad guys that will appear on doors. through the different floors. So you will go up floors on this elevator, and then you will get, you'll shoot the bad guys, and you continue going up. For some reason, I had a fascination with seeing like the different levels that this will have. As you can see, actually, you know what? I take it back. Now that I'm looking at it, it seems like what would you call that? He
repels in.
He repels in through the roof, and then he's going down. I'm sorry, he's not going up. Actually, it's the opposite. He's going down on an elevator and shooting the bad guys that will appear, on the doors. It looks like a simple premise, but it was. It got hard. It got difficult.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, all these arcades. Let's be real.
They were quarter munchers.
They were quarter munchers. Yeah,
basically.
But you can get good at it. You just you got to spend money in order to do it. So,
yeah, which was the whole point of it. Yeah,
of course. It's funny how life really hasn't changed much nowadays with microtransactions and stuff.
Oh shit! There you go.
Could
We're
just
back.
kind of pave to
Full
to get good.
circle.
Yeah. Interesting.
Before that, we didn't own the
True.
the
We did
console.
not. We were just going to play it. My earliest one, I remember. There was this was in New York, and we went to what is the name of it? It was this park.
Central Park.
No, not Central Park. It was actually outside. We were in New York City, but we went north. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of the park, but it was in Lake George. It was, I don't know. And it was a park. We would go there. I was with a church at the time and all this stuff. And I will never forget, they had this little arcade. They had like a little area you can get food and stuff like that. And it had an arcade. And I went to this thing, and it had, believe it or not, Super Mario Brothers 2 on the arcade.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I fell in love with this game. This is really a long time ago.
Super
And
Mario
it was, I could not believe. And at this point, I remember I was still playing Super Mario Bros. 1 at home. This is around that time. And it's just like, man, I knew that this game was out there. And then we went to this whatever, and there it was.
Yeah.
I will never forget it, dude. It was just, whatever money I had on me was gone. And I'd go, my mom, hey, Mom, can I get some more or whatever? And I think she gave me like $2 more or something like that. But anyway, the point is,
hey, man, that's 8 games that you could be playing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Opportunities to play.
It's the earliest arcade memory I can have. I can't remember the name of the stupid park. Something Bear? Oh my God, Bear Park? I don't know. That doesn't matter. Yeah.
The Bear and the Bull.
The Bear and the Bull. Sure.
There you go.
Anyway, so that was my earliest ones, but yeah, I mean, I do remember playing some of the older stuff. I remember in the 90s, there was this place in downtown, basically Times Square. And this was when Times Square was pretty rough and rugged for the record, but because Times Square wasn't always as nice as it is now.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was all about the peep shows and all this stuff. It was something serious back in the days. But a little bit of ways from that on
from the red light district.
From the district, yeah. It was this what's the hell? It was like 7th Avenue, something like that. It's a place called Playland. And I will
Are you sure that's not a peep show place? I mean, come on.
Thank God it wasn't. Not that I didn't try to steer myself off into different directions, but it was called Playland, and it was an arcade, and it was a huge arcade with. It had like a back level or a downstairs. Actually, you go in, and then it had all these arcades, and you get far back, and it had like you had to take a few steps down, and even went further. I will never forget, sir, going down to that bottom level and seeing this wall of, if I remember correctly, 8 to 10 arcade units of Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition.
Oh shit!
And
so you have to go. Like a down level, like a basement?
Yeah, it was more like, how like a loft that you would you kind of take a few steps down in the thing. So you'd go in, and the place was huge, and it had arcades of all kinds. And then towards the back, you'd take a few steps down, and it had almost like a basement level that was even further back. And down there was where all the noise was, because there were crowds around these. They had 10, really? 8 or 10. It was just this wall. And I was like, holy shit, it's here. And I will never forget. That was another great, but at this point I was this was in the 90s. I was a little bit older. And 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 doing shit downtown and stuff. And dude, that was easily one of my favorite games, arcade games of all time. Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition.
Man,
we can finally play as the four bosses.
Well, this is the reason why I wanted also to talk about this. Aside from reminiscing the games that we played and that we saw and the establishment, it's kind of look to go into like what happened. We all have an idea of what happened, but I kind of want us to evolve that a little bit, to think about about how come there's, for example, in Japan, you still see the arcade arcades.
Mm-hmm.
The arcade scenes hasn't really died. Of course, it's not as prominent as we remember them being, and you will argue that a lot of technological advancement that has to do with gaming come from there, and yet arcades still they're still keep being a place to gather and gather up with your friends and compete.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you could be making the same thing at home with over the internet and stuff like that, but like, it's a shame that we lost that.
It was the original. It was the original couch play.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Because before couch play, if you think about it, when it was just the arcades and we weren't really playing at home, sure you had the Atari and stuff like that. But some families had the Atari, some didn't. I mean, it depends. It wasn't a cheap thing to get.
Yeah.
And not every family can get it. But arcades were everywhere, and you can just and get together with your friends. I think. That's what it was. I think it was the original couch, obviously not couch, but the original co-op play.
Yeah,
where you can sit there and play with your friends.
You
and
maybe trash talk.
Trash talk. You can try to beat there. It was always a high score, which was a huge thing back in the day, which is very, very like seldomly used now. Any type of high scores. You remember? I mean, think of Super Mario Brothers. The first Super Mario Brothers had a score.
Yeah.
Who cares? Why was there a score there? You know what I mean? No one cared. It was all about completing the area as opposed to, but it was that weird transition where it's like, well, I guess we should put a score, right? Because they're earning as they go, and
how can they compete? If there's not a score to separate them.
To tell you,
it's funny because even a lot of the beat 'em ups, you will notice, and games that came out afterward, they always seem to have the score, and it's something that we definitely lost. But I think in like places like in Asia, the arcades, like I mentioned, being a place of gathering and being social, or at least it was looked more like that.
Rather
than like in the West, we were more enamored with like the graphical capabilities, like, oh, how cool this looks, I need to play that because that looks so rad. And I think even a lot of people that own the Atari systems, and the Nintendo, they will still jump at the opportunity of playing on the arcade because you can just not, you can compare the graphics and the gameplay on arcades. Even though arcades were, very, like you said, quarter munchers, just the experience of playing that, let me tell you, Super Contra was a game changer for me.
Really?
Yes, because for me and my cousin, my cousin Carlos, back in Puerto Rico, in town of Guanica, my aunt owned this restaurant business, right? And I remember that on a liquor store that was like a mile away from it, near the beach, there was this arcade. There was this bar, actually. It's a liquor store, but it had a bar.
Okay.
But it also had different arcades and a pinball machine. They had the Black Knight 2000, which is one of my favorite freaking pinball machines of all time. I will say, if I ever find that pinball machine again, I will.
You just buy it.
I'll fucking buy it. Yeah, I think I love.
Put it in the garage.
Oh, don't give me ideas, bro. But Super Contra, to me and my cousin, that was the game that we were addicted to it. You know, this was pre Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my cousin will beg our aunt to let us work cleaning tables or doing whatever, and you know, just let us work so that she could pay us like $1 in quarters or so, or sometimes a little bit more, so we can get in our bikes and pedal a mile to the liquor store so we can just play our
To
four
the
games.
liquor store.
To the liquor store.
Bunch of crazy kids.
Dude, Super Contra. Not only that game was gorgeous, it had like an excellent graphics. The weapons on it that you will get. Obviously, you all know Contra, but when you hear Contra, most of you remember Contra from the NES. Maybe the Alien Wars for Super
Alien
NES,
Wars, yeah, so
and it was
it was
fantastic. It was fantastic. You know, I feel like that by that time, by the time that Alien Wars, was out, we were kind of starting to get conditioned into the, oh wow, I'm actually having the arcade experience
At home.
At home,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't need to spend so much quarters and so many quarters to enjoy. And of course, needless to say, Street Fighter 2 cemented that, because when Street Fighter 2 came out, that was, I would say, that was probably the heyday of the arcade, of the arcade scene, at least in the States.
Yeah, definitely.
Or in Puerto Rico.
I guess we can call it the golden age.
The golden age.
Yeah, the golden age.
Yeah. But there was a lot of other, prior to Street Fighter, before we even get that far, we got to give it to the classics.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
You can't mention, you can't talk about arcades without mentioning freaking Double Dragon.
Oh, actually, you know what? I remember the pizza shop near where I used to live had a Double Dragon. It was just back also in the Bronx. Had a Double Dragon one, and it was pretty cool. I think it was Double Dragon 2.
Shit.
Maybe it was
Double Dragon.
One of the two. I remember exactly, but it was definitely Double Dragon. It was the one that you were able to.
I think that might have been the second one.
Yeah.
Does the girl get punched in the gut, or did she get killed?
I think she gets punched in the gut. Yeah,
okay, that was the original Double Dragon then. Because that and mind you, Double Dragon 2 blew my ever loving mind when I saw that. That to me, that was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like on the first one, it was already bad enough to see a guy, punch the girlfriend of one of the leads
of the Dragon Brothers.
The Dragon Brothers. That was another thing, another shocking thing. It was like, you and I are the Double Dragons, the Dragon Brothers, and then at the end when we rescue the lady that gets kidnapped, we have to fight each other. Like, that's kind of messed up.
It is,
like, that's kind of like a betrayal-ton. But it was cool. It was a really cool concept, and that game was fantastic. Talk about a game with great graphics, great music. I mean, so satisfying to just grab one of the bad guys and start like just grabbing
them.
Like constantly, not just one, just go like
yeah, I remember that.
And then throwing them, dude, it was the best. And then a Boba will appear, and you will freak the fuck out.
It's like, oh, I gotta fight this fucker. Yeah,
dude. And
that's actually great. That's a great title. That's a great title. I do remember playing that in the arcade first before ever playing it at home.
Oh, I don't think there was ever a console version that did it justice.
No. No.
I had the Sega Master version.
Yeah.
I was ecstatic that I could play Double Dragon Sega Master, but I knew that this is not the real thing.
No. That there was this weird blurry line early on where it was like, Yeah, you can play it at home, but it's not really the same thing, is it?
You gotta have to use your imagination.
Yeah.
Now Mario Brothers. Now there you go. You can play an arcade perfect version.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right there.
Absolutely. Were you ever into the classics like Donkey Kong or Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man? I think Mrs. Pac was probably the more popular
Not
one.
all of them. So I will play them. Yes, I wasn't I found it too difficult. So I wouldn't play Donkey Kong, for example.
I love Donkey Kong.
They
are difficult though. Yeah,
I found it too difficult. If a game was difficult but it had a cool element, then I will jump on it no matter what. So example of that will be Spy Hunter.
Spy Hunter. Okay.
Spy Hunter had that
was difficult.
Very famous soundtrack. I don't remember the name of the song, but it is it's actually a real song, well, a cheap tune version of a real song. But anyway, that it was very iconic. You will hear it anywhere. You're like, oh, Spy Hunter. How cool! I'm playing. I'm driving this spy car, and I can shoot bad guys. I can release oil so the bad guys will slip and they will destroy.
That's funny. Yeah.
If I wanted to update the weapons, I would just go into a truck, which was I could never get into the fucking truck without destroying
you.
Yeah. I will either destroy it or it'll knock me down out of the road because you have to be some precision driving was required with those games
and something that probably wasn't programmed to have precision.
Oh my God. Let me tell you. You were using the steering wheel, which was very modern, and it had the fire buttons on the steering wheel itself.
It was actually the old unit that had all that was really, really good. Yeah, it was a really good unit.
I remember that they tried to modernize that version for consoles, and I'm talking about like the 360 era. And I think The Rock might have been involved in that somehow.
Spy Hunter, the 360 version. Okay,
I want to say, or maybe there was a Spy Hunter movie, right? And it was horrible.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
And if it was, I'm sure it was horrible because we all know there has not been a good movie adaptation of a video game. So
no, it was definitely not. So basically, it's trying to be the James Bond of it.
Mm-hmm. Spy Hunter, that's such a good. I always love the old cover arts for games like that. Like, you would obviously you'll see them on the arcades. They'll be on the side of the actual unit itself. What about the shooting games? Were you ever into those? I can definitely bring up one of my personal old school favorites, which was. Maybe you heard of a little game called Operation Wolf.
Operation Wolf. Oh, yes.
I remember playing that.
Or, as it was known, as the arcade will tell you his name, Operation Wolf.
You're right, because early on, it was hard to get voice in there.
Voice synthesis was not super ideal on it.
But we all were like, oh my God, it's awesome. Yeah.
Dude, you saw the intros of Super Contra. Super Contra will be like, what is this place?
Yeah.
Keep your eyes clear.
Oh my God.
Yes. That one actually sounded better than Operation Wolf. But Operation Wolf was
amazing. It was another freaking hard ass game, but damn, just think about it. A lot of that early arcade shit was not easy, bro.
Well, the managers of the arcade had the power. The arcades had dip switches that the manager of the arcade could actually change the difficulty status, and they used most of the time because they wanted, they wanted to maximize the revenue of the quarters. They will set that shit to super hard. RoboCop might as well be an unplayable title, because everything that touched you like knocked down so much of your life. By the time that you encountered the first boss, which was the Ed 201. You were dead. Yeah. You were dead. You could never pass the first stage.
I remember that too. Yeah, and I don't remember ever getting that far.
That was one of my favorites. Also,
yeah, RoboCop.
I really like RoboCop. I didn't play it a lot because again I found it too hard. But just looking at people play that game was like amazing. Just spectating.
I remember my friend of mine, Suarez, and me. We decided to like separate enough money so that we can literally get through the Terminator 2 arcade shooting thing, because I was like, I want to see this game to the freaking end, you know?
Yes.
And I was just like, this is bullshit. I need to be able to do this. And I think if I remember correctly, we stopped early on. I was like, you know what? Something's wrong here. We're dying way too much. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I don't think I ever figured out that that's what they were doing. But
they were making that shit way too hard. It was, and there were games that were, they people knew that they were infamous for doing, for having the difficulty spikes, set way to the top. Like Gauntlet was another one that
was a very hard.
It was very difficult. I didn't play a lot of Gauntlet, mainly because for some reason I never cared about the way it looked. Mm-hmm. That was a classic. I'm pretty sure that if I would have, I think I started seeing that game more and more when it was already considered like old.
Yeah.
Karate
Champ is one I brought up in the actual Hot Topic, but I love Karate Champ. And the reason I even loved it, and I was like, I need to play more of it, was because of Bloodsport. You remember the movie Bloodsport? He, Van Damme and his friend, I can't remember his guy. But anyway, the Van Damme, whatever, that's how they meet in the actual game, in the actual movie, excuse me. They're playing Karate Champ. And I was like, yes, I remember seeing that at the, I don't know, whatever arcade was at that point. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I was like, I need to play this because obviously it's on a movie, so it's got to be good, right? You know what I mean? And
at least it existed. It was not made up.
No, it was not. It was great stuff. I mean, for what it was.
Yeah.
It was just two joysticks, and you would obviously position your character close to each other, and then the positions you would go on a joystick, if you went like on one joystick up to the top right and then another joystick to the bottom left, it would do one move, and then you know what I mean? And of course, if you get them perfectly, one hit, boom, down. And of course, the guy with the flag. Woo, yeah, you know what I mean? I dig that game. That was a good one too.
Karate Champ. There were some decent ports.
Oh yeah.
I remember the
anything
C64.
Oh okay.
Port was actually decent enough. Of course, you didn't have the two joysticks. Just like a lot of games. You didn't have the proper method of playing it originally, but yet they had a console version. Say, for example, Centipede.
Yeah.
Centipede.
You need the ball, yeah.
You need the ball for it, exactly.
Yeah.
But that fucking ball will always shock the fuck out of me. Really? I hated it. Mostly because I was playing it, maybe like I was just getting out of the pool and I was playing it.
So it's your own fucking fault.
It could have been, but it's not supposed to shock you.
It is if you're wet and you're throwing water on it.
I'm throwing water at the key.
Yeah, what are you going to expect?
Shock the crap out of me.
Oh my God. I'm sure it wasn't just you, so you just made it a hazard for everybody else after you. So well done, sir.
Yes.
Well done.
Another one that a lot of people don't know because and this game was great and I wish there would be like a complete total overhaul remake of this, something crazy cool. Saxon. Remember Saxon?
No, I don't.
So ZAXXON.
Oh dear. That's how it's spelled. ZAXXXON. Arcade. Okay, let's see.
So,
okay, I do remember this. Yes. I just don't know the name.
So it had what would you call that? An isometric perspective,
isometric view, yeah.
Where you're controlling this jet plane or spaceship or whatever it is, and you're basically going into like a fortress area, and destroying shit.
Yeah,
and then you can control the altitude of it. And you have to be.
Oh yeah, because you get just like they just got destroyed.
because the wall, they try to simulate the 3D
space
almost.
Yeah.
So you have to.
So you have to use a shadow because the shadow of the thing would.
It'll indicate how high the wall is, or
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't think I've actually played, but I do remember seeing this. So.
I always saw that game, and I love seeing people that were good at it because at the end of it, you will fight a big robot, and that shit was just so cool to see people beating that freaking robot.
Do you ever play what is it? Air or Space Harrier? No,
Space Harrier.
Space Harrier was one. That was another flight game, right? What's the one with the jet? There was a one with the jet.
Oh, you're talking about Afterburner, bro.
Afterburner, thank you.
Dude, Afterburner is a super classic.
Yeah, that shit right there was serious.
I actually tried to make my own Afterburner on CCC4.
Really?
I tried to program it. Yeah, it was.
How did it come out?
Extremely rudimentary because I was using, like characters from, like, yeah, no, it was not graphics. Let's say, I think it was like actual alphabet characters to represent it. But I had it to where it will fly, it will move to the left and move to the right, and that's as far as
it would go.
But that was my jet.
That was it.
I was very proud of it. Mainly because I super duper loved Afterburner. Because again, another talk about a crazy experience. So the ones that came out, early were the big ass like jet cockpits, almost looking things. That you will sit down on it and it'll have the fly stick and everything. And then as you were flying, that shit will move, like it'll have like pneumatics and stuff like so it'll actually. Was it gyro motion or whatever? Yeah, well, not gyro because it wouldn't rotate, but it will move you. Yeah, it will move you, kind of like a ride at Disney or something like that. And that was amazing. And then the speakers were I want to say they were at your ear level, so you hear the explosions and the music and all that. It was crazy cool.
That's awesome.
Those are games made by Sega, which was one of my favorite arcade makers at that time because they also had another super favorite of mine. I like racing games, and they made Outrun.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the idea of Outrun because not only you were cruising with your girlfriend in a Ferrari, but also you could pick your path. And depending on the path that I could pick a path that you might have not seen, and it'd be like, oh, cool. Now you're in the ruins or whatever. And like what I didn't know at the time was that there's the specific path, which was the more to the right, like every time it'll fork you in, and the more that you will go towards the left, the left path, the easier the route was, and the more you steer towards the right, the harder it'll be. So if you steer right all the time, every time
you're on the hardest track at some point.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Nice.
So it's funny because
the music was amazing. Also,
it was. Yeah, it
Splash. To this day, I still remember the music of Splash Wave, and I sing it. And you know how I like to put lyrics on everything and everything. Yes. So, yeah,
it's funny how I don't do racing games like on console or anywhere else. But man, give me a racing game in an arcade where I can sit, hit the, whatever, and I can have all the fun in the world in that.
All right, you asked for it. Asked for it.
Okay. No.
Daytona.
No. Daytona was great though. Daytona USA.
Daytona.
Awesome thing. It was great scene.
Daytona.
I think they would have the four setup sometimes where you would be like four setup, right? You'd have four seats back to back to back.
Or, you know what I mean?
And everybody would just, or side by side or whatever, and everybody be in the same race. I loved Cruising USA.
Cruising USA was fantastic.
That was another one.
You don't have to put it.
Daytona.
Although that's a little bit of a faster version.
That is a faster version.
Because that's the one that they play when you're racing. And the music of it, it's great because it gets you super pumped.
Not me, dude. It's just like, honestly, I knew of the music and I never even, like, it wasn't until you brought up Daytona and I'm going,
really? Oh my God. That was,
it never hit me
that
like
was
that.
literally, that was, again, talk about an iconic soundtrack. You heard that Daytona with that, like, weird intonation because he was artificial. Mm-hmm. And like you immediately knew, oh my God, they got a Daytona USA machine here somewhere. And I was beeline it to. Now that's an arcade that I super played. Daytona USA because
Daytona. Yeah, I
just
did play that. I did
love the soundtrack of it.
Let
to
me
this
tell
day.
you about an arcade that used to be here in Disney called Disney Quest. Did you ever go to Disney Quest?
No, I missed out on Disney Quest, bro.
Dude, I
can't believe I missed out
cannot
on
believe.
Disney
First, I
Quest.
can't believe that they shut it down.
Wow. Yeah,
Because it was so. For those who don't know what Disney Quest is here in Florida, obviously, or was here in Florida, and what it was 4 stories of just nothing but arcades and arcade-like games. You would pay one price to go in, and I remember the last time I went, it wasn't even expensive. It was like $35 to go in, and you stay there all day and just play whatever you want. They had a 8-player, like with seats and with connected, basically 8-player Mario Kart. Thing.
Wow!
And it was everybody can just sit in there, and it was so good. They had some of the early virtual reality, which was really bad because the visor would sit on your head, and it would literally feel like someone was sitting in your head because it was like super heavy. Yeah.
I was gonna say you shouldn't worry too much about the escape. What you were just talking about?
Disney
The
Quest?
Mario. No, the Mario because the Mario Kart because now that Universal is all winning that.
Nintendo Land.
Land.
Oh yeah.
I bet you could bet that they're gonna have that. If not a ride, actually, if it's a ride.
I don't need a ride. I know. Ooh, if they actually have go-karts. That would be
that you
amazing.
could throw shit at. I don't know.
That would be well, maybe not throw shit.
They can make it happen.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
One of my plans,
crazy.
guys, by the way, I am going to Japan this year. And one of my plans in Japan is to rent a go-kart and go through the streets of Tokyo. I've already planned it out. I've already checked out the prices.
Isn't that the one that I guess that Nintendo is suing?
It's possible. It's possible. I heard that there's actually more than one. At least I saw more than one. So hopefully it'll be there. It'll be a shame if it's not there by the time I get there. But anyway, that's
Nintendo, don't ruin it.
Exactly. God, man, fucking Nintendo. So let's move on into where are arcades now? What is it? Are we ever going to get back to the heyday of having a place to go and kids nowadays? You think they'll have those moments that we had?
They're definitely not having the same experience because I feel like arcade places are now locations that like their family will take them. It'll be like a Dave and Buster's, for example, or Arcade Monsters, like you mentioned. We saw a lot of kids there, even though it's a place to sell alcohol also. So I don't know how that thing worked there.
Hey, I don't question the legalities.
But it was, it was a place. It was there. I think on that place in particular, like you could meet with your friends if you live in the area.
It was very homey.
But there's not that many of them around. Not like in our era where you could just go to the corner and there'll be a liquor store, and you could play Double Dragon 2 there,
or a pizza shop,
or a pizza shop. Yeah. So not on that
level.
At that level, I would say most of the arcades now that are available still, have research. They're catering more to the retro, like what do you call that? You have feelings of nostalgia?
Yeah,
so you kind of want to relieve that, and obviously you wouldn't have too much nostalgia if you were a kid right now. Whether us will be nostalgic about that era. Yeah. So those establishments exist. They're few and far between. Some of them serve alcohol.
A lot of them
because that's the clientele that they expect for the most part. It's like adults that grew with these games. Also, the arcade. The problem with arcades now is that like that technology is no longer being made. Like to replicate that authentic old arcade as we remembered. Like for example, those CRTs are not being done. Most of the arcades that have a modernized machine that has like a flat panel or anything like that, you're emulating.
Yeah,
It might
there's an
have a
emulation machine in there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually was a. Speaking of Disney Quest, there was actually one particular arcade unit that had, and it was a stand-up arcade.
Mm-hmm.
The whole whatever, but it had so many games in them. It was just like, ooh, this is different. And it was obviously not an actual arcade unit. It was just meant to look like an arcade with a bunch of games that you could just kind of flip through and of course in that particular where we were, you don't actually put quarters in. You just hit start because they're all you've already paid to get in. Yeah. So yeah, I can see that being the future kind of.
Yeah,
maybe.
like don't get me wrong. The place we went, we had tons. We had a ton of fun.
Yeah.
They had a nice combination of older machines and newer machines. Like I was
even have virtual reality at the top.
They
too,
they also had virtual
Yeah.
reality. Yeah, I was playing this rhythm game that I was having tons of fun with. And you could tell that was semi recent.
Yeah.
And super important because the soundtrack on that was super Japanese.
I was like, this is that's funny because I was looking at that going, these are some of the ones that you would see when you see images and videos of arcades in Japan, which are still thriving, maybe not as big as before, but still thriving. You have a lot of these. There was one that had it was like a drum thing. And I'm like, I remember seeing this, if I remember correctly, in the movie Lost in Translation, which take place in Japan. And I'm going, wait a minute, that's something that wasn't released here. That was clearly imported.
Yeah.
So props to Arcade Monsters for the record, having these really, unique units.
Yeah.
That they imported. Which, by the way, I think it's owned by a Cuban guy, a Cuban family.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's
that's right.
That's why they sell empanadas.
There was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of Latin cuisine.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was
really?
like, okay.
But I'm
and on
down.
top of that, they have really good craft beer. So you know what? Props to those guys for real, because that was good stuff.
I still have. I mean, if you're in Orlando, live in the Orlando area nearby, like that's a place that we recommend. I also liked, Player One.
I do. Helps you.
Player One.
That was great.
What's it called? Video Game Bar.
Video Game Bar. Yeah.
That was catering more towards the adult crowd. Even though they do, I said the kids can be there up to a certain time.
Up to a certain time. Yeah. After that, you have to be 21 or over.
That's
also the location that had the the pole dancing.
They had the innocent pole dancing,
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often enough. I think that was just a
often
one
enough.
thing. often enough. Yes. I wish it would happen more.
That particular place was actually pretty good because they have in the front you pay to get in, but in the front you actually sort of not rent, but you basically go, hey, because they had the console setups, with flat screen TVs and everything, and nice chairs. I remember that being great. And then you would just go to the front, sort of ask for a game, and then you put it into the console, and then
you could play. You could play multiplayer games like around that era. It was
COD and all that.
Budget
Stuff,
360 games there.
Yeah, they had all the Xbox on that, and then above the bar had the PlayStation 4's setup.
The PlayStation. Yes.
So I mean that place is really good, and they also had, if I remember correctly, they had the Guitar Hero wall mount and everything. I was like, that was really good stuff. Props to that place. I mean, like the problem with that place is it's far, and that's the other thing.
To us, but I'm saying for people that live in the area, they might live nearby. For example, there was not too long ago we went to a place in Daytona. I forgot the name of it.
But the museum.
The museum.
The arcade museum. Yeah.
That place was great.
That was great.
That was fantastic. I mean, you would think a museum is a place of, look but don't touch. But you could play.
Here is touch. As much as you want.
You could play. I mean, there was some really cool things. Like I saw, we saw some of the ET cartridges
that were unearthed.
From the land.
Somewhere in New Mexico.
The mythical landfill in New Mexico, where they said, because that was the thing, right? That people were saying like, urban legend says that the Atari, ET for Atari 26 was so bad that the company just dumped them and buried them on a landfill, and
lo and behold,
and it ended up being true.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is fantastic.
That is crazy. That's good stuff.
So yeah, and also joysticks out in downtown Orlando. Like I like that place too.
Joystick is cool too. The joysticks is cool too.
Yeah.
That actually is a nice little spot. It's also in a nice area too, where
Yeah.
you have a lot of little places you can go to. Yeah, that's the only thing. You're right. I think that's what's missing now is that that local place that you can literally either walk to, or just maybe it's not far. You just kind of jump over to and just kind of hit a quick video game or something like that. Like I think of the Walmart. I have a little neighborhood Walmart near me, and it's like if we were back in the 80s, early 90s, this same Walmart would where the red box machines would probably be a bunch of arcades. You know what I mean? I was like, and it's like, yeah, I guess times have changed.
I guess at that point, like we got so into the console game on the console game, and where game scores, the high scores did not matter as much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not everybody had the competitive spirit. Also, it was more about achieving the objectives, and when games started to be almost replicated, which almost near accuracy. I'm thinking of those.
I think of
Super
those Neo
Nintendo.
Geos. When you got the Neo Geo at home, you had the same Neo Geo.
Oh yeah, you have the arcade.
Yeah,
but see that was difficult too. That was super expensive.
True. I mean that's early on, but I mean that broke the barrier.
Yeah.
and then it became to the point where we can just play these.
We can just make once we left the 16-bit era, like it was over for the arcade scene because we could play everything that the arcades had to offer and more. Mm-hmm. I had every Street Fighter version that Capcom decided to release on Super Nintendo. I even risked getting the chicken pox to be able to play Street Fighter at home at my neighbor's house that had the chicken pox, and I didn't care because to me, being able to play Street Fighter without spending quarter was
worth the risk.
It was again mind bending.
Yeah.
It was amazing,
and it looked good.
It looked great. They did such
Nintendo,
a good job with it.
Yeah.
It was unreal. It was incredible. Like it sold so many consoles, and that's the thing. That's where most of the companies saw that the money was, the money was starting to come from, the console scene, and then you start getting into the next generation, and now you can't make arcades with that level of graphic fidelity because it become cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
So the arcade started to look archaic. Get it?
Nice, sir.
So and you were playing like the latest and greatest on PlayStation.
On PlayStation, yeah. And now, yeah.
So at that moment, now it's almost silly because you go to the quote unquote arcade sections and what they want to make us believe, this is the arcades, but as it is like modernized, and all you see is like stupid, gigantic version of mobile games.
Oh, you see a lot of that in Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, in Dave and Buster's specifically, you can see a lot. Like you rarely see something that is original for the arcade. Like the last thing I remember seeing that was original for the arcade that was released not too long ago was a Halo arcade game, and that was crazy.
Yeah,
and we saw that at the Dave and Buster's. That was crazy. Seeing the Master Chief on an arcade game. I don't even remember how the game was. Obviously, it was a first-person shooter as well. I mean, what else would it be?
Yeah. It has to be. Unless it's Halo Wars.
It has to be. Or maybe it's a shooter in the type of Operation Wolf, maybe. Or Terminator. I don't remember. But anyway, it was crazy to see something like that done, and sad to see that. Maybe there are a lot of arcade games that are coming out still to this day that we're missing because they just don't make them here because there's not that market has passed already.
Yeah.
That market is very niche already, and that's where you will find them in the corners. The mom and pops and the Dave and Buster's, they can afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
A bowling alley, might have.
A bowling alley does. Yeah, we went to a bowling alley recently. It was, they had a nice little arcade area.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're not the same.
Where's my Outrun? Like, I want to play Outrun. I want to play Afterburner. Hell, I want to play Elevator Action again.
I don't know if you're going to find elevator action. Yeah, so... Well, guys, that kind of brings us to the end of an awesome episode. Episode 198. Wow. 2 episodes away from 200.
Wow.
Yes.
What is happening? That's kind of close.
Yes, it is. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. As always, please go goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. Please like, subscribe, share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off this week. Mr. David Santos, take us home.
Oh, there's no sound.
Oh,
that's a fail.
Epic fail.
Let's try it again. And you will edit it. Let's go away. Take it away. Daytona.
And with that, guys, we will see you next week.